Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a huge problem, one that honestly, we all face in our work. How do we make sure the stuff we're building actually matters? Let's get right into it. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project, a new feature, whatever, only to watch it, well, flop? Nobody uses it, nobody seems to care, it just completely misses the mark. It's so frustrating, right? And it happens all the time. And that is what we call the value gap. It's this giant, costly canyon between what we think people need and what they really need. And this gap, it's responsible for just a massive drain on time, money, and frankly, team morale in pretty much every industry you can think of. But here's the good news. There is a way to fix this. You can actually build a bridge over that chasm to make sure what you're creating lands perfectly. And that bridge, my friends, is called a needs assessment. Now, a needs assessment isn't just, having a few chats by the water cooler. No. It's a real structured process. It's about using data to figure out what your stakeholders need, both the things they tell you about and, just as important, the things they don't even know how to ask for yet. When you do this right, it honestly changes the game. It gives you a solid data-driven foundation to make your decisions. That means you can prioritize the work that's going to have the biggest bang for the buck. Not only does this line up your work with what the company actually wants to achieve, but it builds a ton of trust because people finally feel like you're truly listening. So how do we do this without it feeling overwhelming? Well, we can break it all down into a really simple 3-phase framework. It goes like this. First, you map the landscape. Second, you gather intelligence. And third, you act on your insights. So let's start with phase 1, map. Think about it. You can't plan a road trip without knowing your starting point, right? It's the same thing here. Phase 1 is all about creating a super detailed map of how things are right now. This gives us a clear baseline to work from. So what are we looking for when we're drawing this map? We're talking about a few key things. What frameworks are teams using? What tools are people relying on every day? What does the data say about past projects? We also need to get a handle on how money and people are being used, and crucially, how happy or unhappy our stakeholders are. All of this together, that's your "you are here" dot on the map. All right, so you've got your map. Now for the fun part. We're moving into phase 2, which is basically an intelligence gathering mission. This is where we go out and actively discover what people really need. And you've got this amazing toolkit to help you out. One-on-one interviews, that's where you go deep and get the rich details. Surveys, that's how you go wide and get numbers from a bigger crowd. Focus groups are awesome for getting different people in a room to bounce ideas off each other. And don't forget to look back. Reviewing lessons learned from old projects can show you patterns of what's gone wrong before. Now, here is the absolute key to this whole phase. It's how you ask the questions. Don't ask, "What feature do you want?" Instead, try asking, "What result are you trying to get?" It's a total game changer because it gets you past the surface level wants and down to the real core need. It's the whole faster horse problem, right? You got to find out they really just need to get from A to B faster. Okay, so you've mapped the world, you've gathered all this amazing intelligence, but all that data is pretty useless if it just sits in a spreadsheet, right? Phase 3 is where the magic happens. This is where we turn all that information into a solid, actionable plan. And a really powerful way to start is with something called pain and gain mapping. It's simple. You just list out all the current headaches and frustrations, the pain points. And on the other side, you list out what success looks like, what they hope to achieve, the gain points. Laying it out like this just makes it crystal clear what problem you need to solve. Then you can use a value expectation matrix to organize your findings. You start mapping out what different groups expect, and you'll see these patterns and common themes just pop out. But, and this is super important, you'll also see where expectations might clash. Like maybe team leads want super detailed reports, while the execs just want a one-page summary. Good to know that up front. All right, last step here, and it's a big one. You have to prioritize. Because you can't do everything at once. You look at each need and ask 3 simple questions. How big is the impact? How urgent is it? And can we actually do this? That focus lets you build a plan that delivers the biggest value fast. So you might be thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot of work. And it can be. But the payoff is huge. Let's talk about why this is also worth it. See, when you operate with this kind of clarity, you're not guessing anymore. That means your money and people go to the right places. Better resource allocation. Your stakeholders start to trust you more because they see you're actually solving their real problems. And the big one, your projects are just way more likely to succeed. You're closing that value gap for good. When you boil it all down, this is what it's all about. It's about creating this unbreakable chain that connects a deep understanding of what customers need to the actions your team takes and links all of that to real, measurable results.
So I want to leave you with a question, just for you to think about. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being I'm totally guessing, and 5 being I know exactly what they need, where do you stand right now? Are you working based on hard data or just assumptions?
Because really, the biggest leap forward you can make is to stop guessing and start assessing. Thanks so much for joining me.